Hi everybody, Sam Lewis here again. Today I have the pleasure of having a great friend of mine to interview. This is Codillia Gapare and she is the creator of Sea Lash. Sea Lash is the eyelash that is provided to cancer patients, specially designed for cancer patients to wear. And it's all over the world now, isn't it, Codillia? Is it
Yeah.
everywhere now? You can get it anywhere.
Well, UK and America.
Oh wow, well done, well done. So yeah, Codillia has been on a cancer journey herself, and I think the lack of eyelashes was the thing that inspired you to make these sea lashes. Am I right in saying? Could you just tell us a little bit about your cancer journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was diagnosed way back in 2014. At that time I was 36, and I didn't actually think that, it's like you always think you can't have cancer because of my age and the time. So when I walked into Leighton Hospital and I was told that I had cancer, I was totally unprepared. But anybody who knows me knows that I'm originally from Zimbabwe. So my whole support system, no, not my whole, most of my support system was still back home in Zimbabwe. So I couldn't take the time off to to look after, to go through cancer treatment. I still had my boys to look after. I still had, it's like bills to pay. So for me, it was all about trying to maintain a sense of normalcy. I still needed to look like a mom to my kids. I still needed to look like the person that would walk into work. So the only thing that it became about trying to hide the fact that I was going through cancer, because I was scared that it was going to impact my job and everything else. And B, it was just something that was there to hold on to, just trying to look like myself. So I could do everything, find wigs to hide my missing hair, draw eyebrows on. But when I tried to wear false lashes, I realized I couldn't, because they rest on your existing lashes. So that's when I just thought, I need to find a lash that can, that you can wear even if you didn't have your own lashes. That's how the journey to sea lash started.
Oh, wow, it's amazing. It's just something so small but so massive to so many, that isn't it?
It is. And I think the reason why it took me so long from getting the idea to actually getting out there was the fact that it's so simple and so obvious. And I thought, surely somebody has done this before. Surely this has been done 1,000 times. So it was a balancing act of trying to find out if this was really a new idea and not give away my idea by talking to everybody. So it took me quite a long time before I actually committed to doing this. And then as soon as I found out there was nothing out there, then I just realized that, if not me, then who? I had to do this because I came up with this idea, even though I had no clue at the time how and how I was going to do it, how I was going to fund the project even. I just thought, I don't need to see the whole staircase. I'll just take one step and another, and that's what I did.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So did you have to copyright the idea straight away, or find somebody to help you develop it, or something like that?
So yeah, so a few tips for anybody who's sort of like coming up with a new idea and stuff like that. One thing that you should probably do is try, because maybe initially I'm talking to somebody like me who doesn't have any cash at all, and you're starting from zero, and you don't have money to copyright the idea, because you don't just come up with an idea and it's a good idea. Sometimes you come up with an idea. I come with ideas at 3:00 every morning, and then in the light of day, they look absolutely rubbish. Yeah. So when you come up with an idea and you think this idea is worth something, the first thing that I was taught to do was write down the idea and email yourself the idea. It's just one of those things that is simple, that, if somebody at a later stage wants to argue that, it's like you didn't come up with this idea at that time, you can always say, this is the time that I came up with. Download a non-disclosure agreement. Ask your dad to sign it before you talk to them about it. Again, it's a simple thing that you can do. Okay, fine, you have to defend it in a court on floor, but then a lot of people will be dissuaded from stealing an idea because you've done a few simple things that don't really cost you a lot of money to protect your idea.
Wow. That's really good advice. I'm in that boat right now, so I didn't know all that, so thank you very much. That's why I asked that question. I was like, oh, oh no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you've come out of the cancer journey. Would you say that you're a lot stronger now than before the cancer journey?
Absolutely. I was talking about the Cody that walked into Leighton Hospital and the Cody that came out in 2015 after I rang the bell. That girl has continued to grow. And if she met that girl that I was in 2014, I don't know if they would know each other. They are so two very different people. I never used to walk stray far from the curb. I was this person who was always, it's like I'd never even left, it's like from the time I came to Britain, I'd never even left it's like Britain to go on holiday. It was just like I just used to get up in the morning, go to work, come back, watch EastEnders, go to bed, repeat. That was my life, and I didn't want anything more than that. And now I want to do everything. I want to go everywhere.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So would you say that there was a time when you came out of treatment that you really struggled to accept that person? Because I find a lot of my ladies, they struggle with accepting the new person and try and hold on to the old one. And that's what causes the depression that comes afterwards. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so for me, I've always said the analogy that I used for this for me is when it's like when you go to war, right? And you've got, imagine you're a country and you're at war. And while you're at war, you've got the United Nations is there, it's the nurses. You've got, it's like foreign aid is coming, it's the doctors. It's got everybody there helping you while you're going through cancer treatment. The day that you win that war, everybody goes away. United Nations, foreign aid, everybody. And you're left with the city in ruins, and you're left to build it on your own, and you've got no idea how to do it. And
it's so good.
I'm absolutely, and it's such a scary thing because you're sitting there crying on days when you don't want to get out of bed, and you're feeling guilty because you're thinking you should be happy, you should be seen to celebrate because you've survived where others haven't. So you can't be this person who's so ungrateful that you're crying. You should be happy, and you just want to go out there and show this face. And I think there is a lot of pressure to then come out and do something amazing, like run a marathon, invent a product and stuff. You don't have to do that. You've just ran the biggest marathon. You've just invented the biggest thing yourself. And you just need to maybe forgive yourself.
I think as well as that, I think because once your hair starts growing back and you start looking well again, people have the same expectations of you before the cancer. So you're trying to keep up with those expectations, and that's not you anymore. You have to embrace the new person, don't you?
Absolutely, and it impacts more than just it's like family and friends. It impacts it's like relationship with your partner. It impacts your relationship with the kids, and I know that for me, my older son, and this is something that I rarely talk about. My older son went from being the most quiet, exemplary kid to just being rebellious, and I didn't realize why. And then looking back, he was 14 when I was diagnosed, and he became my main carer. And nobody took him through how it is to watch your mom dying, and he had to do that by himself. And while I was busy getting better, I forgot that he needed somebody to walk him through what I'd gone through. He had gone through on his own. So I think it's all those things that you then have to deal with as an aftermath that just come at you with no support. Really, the support is there, but then I think sometimes you don't realize that you actually need help until you're swimming in the deep end.
It's like kind of like a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you need the help, but you don't want the help because you're back.
And you're strong.
And everybody's calling you inspirational, and you're so strong, and you're this, so you don't want to prove them wrong and say, actually, I need help.
You know what? I know, absolutely. And I think that Yeah, and I think that scared little girl every so often, not so much now, but every so often, I feel like coming out and just going, help.
Yeah.
And I think now I know when to pick up the phone and speak to someone.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, we all have our down days, don't we? Those days where you actually don't
We
want to
do.
go to bed, everybody leave me alone. And I think I have them because that's me drip feeding. I was told it's me drip feeding the morning of the old Sam. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it's when everything gets on top of me, the things I can't do anymore and I struggle to. And they're the reasons why I don't want to get out of bed. Everybody leave me alone. I just need to lick my wounds a little bit more today.
yeah,
And then it's right, I'm back again.
yeah.
But I think it's a normal part of the journey, isn't it?
It is, and I think that is part of, I think, what makes you stronger, because you essentially breaking down the person that you used to be, and you're building that person brick by brick, and it takes time. I mean, it takes a long time to get there, and I don't know if I'll ever get to a point where I'm completely whole, because I don't want to, because I want to keep on growing, because I've discovered that I'm capable of so much, and I never knew that before. And now that I'm discovering this person who can do so many things, I just want to keep going and see where how
Find out
far I
what
can
else you
go
can
with
do. Yeah, that's me. Me too. I love it. I said I've got
it.
this thing at the moment where I want to see what I can't do.
You know, when you buy a new car and you like pressing the buttons, and like, what does that button do? Oh, it makes the car go faster. What does that one do? And I'm doing that with myself at the moment.
I love it. I love it. You're like me. You talk in visual pictures, don't you? I have to
I do,
explain
yeah,
things like
yeah.
that.
I'm a very visual person.
Yeah, I have to do that. I have to do that all the time. That's why I think I'm getting it so much when you're saying it. But yeah, I get that. It's like, oh, could I do that? And I've got this little issue now where if someone says to me, would you do this? And if I think, oh, I don't know if I could, to me now that means I've got to do it. If I don't
You've
know if
got
I
to do it.
could,
Yeah,
I've got to try it.
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
See,
It's like a
my
little
motto,
mission I've got.
yeah, my motto is can't is not a doing word.
Oh, I'm pinching that. I'm pinching that. I usually say, don't say,
Seriously.
I'll try. You know, when I
Or
was
not
teaching
yet.
in schools, yeah, yeah. When I was teaching in schools, it was never say can't, say I'll try.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Can't is not a doing word.
Um, so you're quite empowered, aren't you? Then you're on a mission to see who this Codillia is and what she can do. What would you say that first made you feel empowered and grow as a person? Was it like an event?
Um,
It's like a switch, or have you just?
I think the cancer absolutely did have a lot to do with it, but I think is going from feeling so selfless, so helpless with the idea of sea lash, and actually bit by bit, it's like, when you watch Tom the Tank Engine, where it says, I think I can, and then the more you do it, the more you think, yes, I can do this,
Yeah,
and then you think, if I can do that, what else can I do? So I think it was the idea of sillage that I started expecting to fail. There was no reason why sillage should have worked. It was all backward the way I did it. I didn't have beauty background. I didn't have money to fund the idea. I didn't have, I'd never run a business before. I'm a classic example of how not to start a business. And then you realize it's it's not what somebody else write in books. It's how much conviction you've got in yourself.
yeah, your
So
passion.
if that Cody who didn't believe in herself could do something, what can Cody who actually has absolute belief in herself go and do? I mean, I've got days where I doubt myself, absolutely. I mean, it's like when I spoke to you earlier, I was saying to you, it's like at the moment, there are times when, with everything that's going on, you get scared. And then you have to go back to those days, those winning days, and you think they were not different from today. It was just a different challenge.
Yeah,
And you just have to bring your A player and just say, there are things that I can't do, but there are definitely things that I can. So we do the things that we can.
love it, love it. So how do you think overall this, I mean, was it a person who's got you this strong, or was you just think it was the cancer journey alone? And how do you think that's impacted your life now? Like right
I
now,
think
if you hadn't have done that, what do you think, you know, the differences
I
would have
think
been?
for me it was my children, definitely, because it's like my older son took on a role that he wasn't prepared for, and he just took it on, uncomplaining, just did it. You know, he did it. Nobody taught him how to care for someone. There were days when he had to take me to the toilet because I couldn't. Like my, I lived in a house that the toilet was downstairs, my bedroom was upstairs. Sometimes I couldn't get down the stairs, and he had to do that for me. And then my younger son, who I tried, and that was a mistake. I tried to protect him by not telling him I was ill. Except
How old is
kids are
he?
so perceptive. He was at that time, he's 13 now. He's 13 this year. So at that time he was about um 7 or 8.
Right.
And I thought by not telling him I was, it's like protecting his innocence. I didn't want him to have to go through this. Except kids are, they're cleverer than you
Yeah.
think. And then I found out that at school they had a race at school, and it said, I want to run for my mom who's got cancer.
Oh my God.
And these little people that have got so much courage, that can do so much and just raise to the occasion, I
They're
can't let them
resilient,
down.
aren't they? So resilient.
They are just resilient. And I just look at myself and I say, how can I say I can't when they never do? They
Yeah.
just keep on going. And they just, even now, my kids are constantly making me step up, because especially my older son, he won't let me rest because he's always challenging me to something.
I love it. So they're your inspiration then, aren't they? They inspire you.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Would you say, I mean, my next question was what empowers you or drives you day to day? Would you say it's the boys then?
The boys are absolutely my drivers. Absolutely. I mean, it's everything that you do, because at the moment, with everything that you're doing, and it's like you realize how much love you've got for those people,
Yeah,
because it's like you never know the kind of love that it's a different kind of love. For the love you've got for your parents or your partner, it's the love that says, if you need my heart, I'll give it to you.
love it.
And that is what drives me, and that makes me say, I can't say no, because they haven't yet. So until they walk in this journey, as long as they walk in this journey with me, I'll try harder.
Oh, Joe, you're going to make me tear up in a second. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so what would you say is your favourite life quote? Have you got a favourite life quote?
Just start. Just start is my favorite life quote. Whatever it is that you want to do. I mean, I've done things because I've just, especially after cancer, it's like I have started sea lunch. I have done a triathlon. When I did my triathlon in January, I couldn't swim. In July, I did a triathlon.
Oh
I
my
started
God.
swimming lessons in January, and I thought, for me to incentivize myself to learning to swim, I need to do something drastic. I signed up for a triathlon. I came last, but I still did it.
You did it then,
I
yeah?
climbed Ben Nevis. Yeah, I climbed Ben Nevis. I've done Tough Mudder. I've done, just, if you want to do something, just do it.
Where do you
Just
get
do
the
it.
energy
I don't. This is the thing, because when you
from?
I do stupid things, like when I commit to something. When I was thinking of doing triathlon, do you know what I did? I called the local paper and I told them. So I couldn't
So you
back
couldn't
out
get out. I love
because
it.
I put it out there. In fact, when I did Ben Nevis, I was supposed to do the 3 Peaks challenge. Unfortunately, I fell down coming down Ben Nevis. So I ended up just doing Ben Nevis. And my friends ended up doing the 3 Peaks in 24 hours. But again, I called the Northwich Guardian. I thought I'm doing 3 Peaks challenge. So, the amount of things, there are a lot of things that I've started and I failed. But trust me, it's a numbers game. out of 10 things that you just start, if you do 4, you'll be so pleased with yourself, because it's 4 things that you probably would never have done otherwise.
So you would say, just do it is your quote. Just
start.
Just start. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because doing it is different. Because by saying just do it, you're implying that somebody has to finish what they started. You don't have to finish. Nobody is judging you, but just put that peak in the ground and say, today I'm doing this thing, and then tell people, make yourself accountable. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, but you never lose.
I love that. That could be a quote. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, but you never lose.
Yeah,
I love
you
that.
never lose.
I love that. Mine's all over the charities, the leaflets, and that is, you were given this life because you're strong enough to live it. So go live it.
Oh my God, yeah, that is so true.
Yeah,
that is so true.
So if you had somebody around you now that wasn't feeling it and wasn't feeling very empowered, what words would you have to say to them?
I would say, it's like sometimes the reason why we don't feel empowered is we are looking at something, it's like much bigger. We're looking to be a hero or something. For me, my empowerment didn't start from it started from something that I called lipstick and heels. It was getting up every morning. I tasked myself to getting up every morning at 8 o'clock, put my face on, put my high heels on, and put my lipstick on. And for me, something so little became something that empowered me. That's why the lashes came about, because I didn't want to have my makeup on and not have my lashes on. So I was empowered not by achieving, it's like raising lots of money for charities or being the person who's the strongest, it's like while we're going through a cancer treatment and stuff. Pick something that you like, change decide, I don't know, decide that you're going to make your brand paint every day. That's something small that nobody can see. Trust me, at a time when you're feeling disempowered, anything that you do to get back control, no matter how small, even having different color nails, it's your thing, it's what you do, and it absolutely makes a difference. Because every single day, if you do something small, and it's like get used to doing small things, before you know it, you'll be doing bigger things. Because people say, do what's necessary and do what's possible, and then before you know it, you'll be doing what's impossible.
Yeah, I love it. It's taking that one step at a time, isn't it? And by the time you finish, you'll be at the top of that mountain, you'll be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Tiny steps. Because most of the time, what's daunting is the gravity of what we're trying to take on, and you think, I can never do this. No, don't worry about that. Just do the tiny things that you can control, and then when you can do them well, take pride in them, move on to the next thing.
Love it. Absolutely amazing wise words there from Codillia. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking to everyone today. Hopefully everyone can take something away from that, and obviously we wish you lots of luck and success with C-Lash, and we hope you're staying sane through all this coronavirus thing, but and staying safe. So I'll speak to you all soon. Let's give them away. Codillia, say bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.